Hello everyone and welcome back to Farming Simulator 2022. We're back here on Elm Creek with Grober Games. Last episode we're still finishing up on this contract here, which actually feels like it's gone by at a pretty decent speed. This combine's going at a pretty good rate for the size head and everything. I'm surprised that oats is yielding this much in this field. It seems like quite a bit here. Our truck and trailer we rented borrowed for the contract are almost full, so we'll be taking our first load into I think it's going to be the grain mill way up there, which is kind of looks like a good drive up there, so we'll be heading that way shortly here while one of our helpers keeps combining and keeps us going. So one of the things I kind of want to talk about is like the benefits of tracks are kind of obvious, they leave less soil compaction, and soil compaction is like one of the number one things of yield loss out there. It's just, especially when it's wet out, like, I'm trying to figure out the best way to put it. So I used to work for a dealership a few years ago, and while working for the dealership, one of my first years there, they had a very extremely wet fall to the point where almost nobody could get out into their fields and combine without getting stuck, per se, or really tearing up the ground. So what ended up happening is a lot of our customers actually ended up investing into aftermarket tracks for their combines. So they ended up most of them ran duals, so they ended up pulling the duals off and put on aftermarket tracks. And one of the top brands I remember that was being sold was, I think, Suey, I think it's called, if I remember right. And I'm pretty sure they're based out of Canada for their track brand. I am not 100% sure, so don't quote me on that. But I do remember it started with an S, and I'm pretty sure that it was called Suey tracks. And one of the things that a lot of customers, I shouldn't say a lot, a good portion of the customers were finding out when they installed them is that they needed a full all-wheel drive combine, and I didn't know that either until one of the salesmen educated me. Basically, they said that the tracks are nice, but the issue is when you put aftermarket tracks on a combine that's normally wheelbase, that most of the combines are all-wheel drive. They're actually just the front axle up there is the only thing that's driving it, not the rear wheels. Like, for example, this one here is an all-wheel drive, and one of the things the salesman told me, I can't really get a good shot of it, is that most all-wheel drive combines the tread will be going the same way. If you can kind of see here when we get to the end, I'll kind of point it out a little bit better. And if they don't have rear-wheel drive on their combine, most times the tires would be inverted the opposite direction of travel, if that makes sense. So here, get out quick here. So like, that's the normal way you would have your wheel tread going. But if most combines, just as a quick like dead giveaway, will have the tread actually inverted, which I thought was kind of interesting. I just didn't know that at the time. But a lot of the customers that we had, they had to invest to rear-wheel drive on their combines, as well as investing into the tracks. So it was quite the, what's the best way to put it? Interesting. I thought this was going to have a tarp on it, but it doesn't look like it. Anyways, it was quite an investment, and the weirdest part was that at the time I was talking to the customers who invested it, and they all loved their tracks. They couldn't believe how it just floated across the combine, just floated across the field compared to the normal tires. And with it, it's kind of obvious, it's like, well, that's because you're getting your weight dispersed a little bit better versus having duals on the combine. Don't get me wrong, the duals do disperse the weight get well, but they don't do quite the work as tracks do on a machine. But the thing that bugs me most is that most of those customers, after that fall was over, they were trying so hard. Oh geez, I don't know if I'm gonna make it up the cell. They were trying so hard to sell their tracks they just bought. Most of them bought, I think most of the ones I talked to bought used ones from someone else. And they were, a lot of the ones that were like talking them up, talking the world of them, decided they wanted to go back to wheels, which I thought was interesting. I figured after you tried something like that, and as much as some of them were talking about it, that they would have wanted to stay with them, which was kind of shocking to me. And in terms, I think most of them were like $50,000 for a set, or if not more, so not a small chunk of change for something like that. So I can see why they want to turn around and sell them, but I guess the truck is really acting funky when pulling this. It kind of acts like the... Yeah, it keeps pulling to one side. This is not like the way this truck drives. Anyways, sorry to keep getting distracted like that, but it just kind of shocks me that, you know, after having such a great experience with something, that they would just turn around and get rid of it right away. But, you know, I guess if they needed the money on their budget side and such, it makes sense. But I know it took quite a while for some of the customers to finally get rid of their tracks. I think only one of them actually kept their set of tracks out of like a dozen of them I talked to. And he's kind of, I guess I can't figure out the best way to put it. He's kind of one of those more, I wouldn't say innovative guys, but he's more of those. He's not afraid to try new stuff. He was kind of a younger guy, and he was doing his own strip tilling and such. So it was something that I wonder if interested him more, just because he thought it helped his strip till and such better without the wheels running over the ground as much. I'm trying to figure out the best way to put it. But wasn't causing as much compaction on the strips, and maybe making it a little easier for a strip tiller to... Oh, we're going to stop that because that's going to take forever to unload. Let's see here. Side grain door. Let's side door. There we go. That's better. Don't have access. Okay. I don't know what that's about, but there we go. That'll move quite a bit faster. But yeah, it was just a very interesting year that year. I know the year after that there was a lot of issues with down crops, but that's a whole different story we'll share for another time. But right now I think we'll jump back into the time lapse here. Finish this field out, and then we'll probably stop at the next month, and reconvert on what we're going to do for that month. We might, depending on what's going on for contracts, we might just skip ahead into the following month after, just so that way we can get to our own harvest and get our winter wheat sown. But we'll jump into it right here, and we'll see you guys the morning of the next month. Alright, now we're in the month of September. As you probably saw, I had a little accident with the truck. I'm not sure what happened. So I know I did get a little bit of air. I didn't think I got that much, but I don't know what happened afterwards. It just started kind of spazzing out really badly on me. I kind of checked, as you saw, we kind of looked at the used market. There's not much going on there for us. Like, ART would be nice, but kind of overkill for what we need right now. We don't really need one too badly. I know when I worked for that farmer, I had something like an 8335 RT, not a newer version like that, but it was a very nice tractor to drive compared to what I was originally brought up on. Our greenhouse is looking still good. We got plenty of water yet. I'm still thinking about investing in another one and just plopping it right next to here, but I want to get these beans out first. And as for the chickens, I kind of want to put them over here, but I also kind of want to keep some little bit of realism. I kind of want to stay away from this creek here just to avoid some manure runoff, keeping with the state standards. So I might end up putting it over here in this corner and just have the fence facing outward over here into the field. That way we got a good enough distance away from the creek here, and we won't be so close. But otherwise, maybe we'll find a better location. Maybe we'll set it up on this end too. Just have both the greenhouses right here, because I think I'm just gonna set the other one right here and leave enough space in there to drive between with the tractor and stuff. That might be the better route. And just put the greenhouse right next to the silo, because I think eventually once we decide to upgrade to silos, we might end up moving it further upward towards the hill. But that's still a long ways yet. We got quite a bit of work to do before we get there. And it looks like there's a few fertilizing contracts out there. Another harvesting one. Field 69, ain't that way down there? Okay. So I think what we might do for this episode, we might do that harvest contract and call it a day for this month. Just have so much going on right now. Like I said, I don't really want to do any tillage here yet, just cause I'm planning to implement. I know in the game you don't have to worry about it, but I'm planning to try to do some crop rotation, so that way we can rotate what seeds are growing in what field and don't overtax the soil on what nutrients is being taken out by what crop we have in there. Such. And looks like our neighbor's got some canola planted now. For a while there, he didn't have anything planted, but he decided to plant canola finally, which kind of throws a wrench in my plan for purchasing this field. I mean, I think we're still going to purchase it, don't get me wrong, but I was kind of hoping that I could talk to him selling to us before he planted it, so that way I can. My original plan was to expand this field, like expand the field out to closer to the roads, the trail here. Go around here and such. That'll give us quite a little more ground, and then plant this all as our barley field. Maybe we'll do that just cause we didn't. It might be in bad taste just cause we didn't invest into the seed. But maybe we'll just do these two fields as barley. Do those two as beans. Or maybe we should just do all canola. That might be a better idea. I wonder how, instead of doing another contract, maybe, let's see. How long do we have left for canola? So we have 1 month left for canola for over the winter. I think that's what we're going to do instead. Add a little variety. Well, instead of doing the harvest cod track like I was planning, I think we'll jump into our class here. Pick the loader off, get the front weight on. We'll grab the disc harrow. This field. And we'll have to move the combine to get to the drill. And we'll drill canola in right away. But first, let's get the fertilizing done, which this won't take too long, and I think we might call that it for the episode, just because I kind of did quite a bit of talking on the tracks on combines and such, and my experiences with them and all the other stuff related to that. But yeah, I think that's what we're gonna work on right now. We're gonna fertilize this field, use the disc harrow, get canola planted in it, and then see. I think by next time I'll talk to the neighbor, see what he says about selling it to us. Maybe next month we'll probably have to put some herbicide down, kill off all the weeds here in both fields. That might make everything work out here pretty decently. But yeah, like I said, we'll get our first round of fertilizer in. There we go. I get the disc harrow, and we'll jump in a little time lapse here. Do everything we need to do to get the fields ready for canola for this season. So I'll see you guys in a bit.
I call you up in the middle of the night, been bothered by dreams, ain't feeling alright. You give me comfort, say just give it some time. By the end of our talk, I'm feeling just fine. You and I will always know where we belong. This ain't no ordinary love we got going on.
All right. I think that's where we're going to end it here for this episode, like I said. And in the meantime, I'm going to talk to our neighbor, see if he's willing to let go of that field, just because it seemed kind of odd that he didn't try to plant anything earlier this spring. Maybe he was just planting canola, or maybe he was falling on harder times to where he didn't have any seed right away in the season to plant some summer crops in there. But yeah, I think I was kind of hoping that we'd be able to talk to him sooner, but I haven't taken the time to talk to him and be able to make this one big wheat field. But you know what? We'll make this work. We can just have another canola field, and then we could just push everything off till next year. We'll just do these two fields as probably not wheat, barley, winter barley. And that way we'll have a bunch of feed ready for our chickens when we get the building. I'm hoping that we'll have enough money to do that. Like I said, I think I'm going to place it probably right here. Have the backside sitting towards the bins here. And then I think we're just going to plant. So after we get done harvesting this field, I think we're just going to sow it all down with grass. And this will just be like a future building space, because eventually we're going to need another shed. So that way we can put all our equipment inside. So that way I'm not doing all this juggling around like I am now to get everything put away and then having to move equipment to get other pieces out. But that is the sad reality of farming, just packing your building sheds full of equipment that some you don't use as often and such. There we go. Combine back in for the most part. All that good enough. Still have to talk to Chuck about that. I'm kind of upset that all this paint's peeling right away. I don't even hardly had any time to use this thing. Just really unfortunate. But anyways, I think that's where we're gonna wrap this episode up here. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel out a lot. If you're enjoying the content, please subscribe to keep up to date with all the new episodes. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day, and most of all, thanks for watching.